Kayla Harrison never fit in. From the first day she walked into Lincoln High, it was as if life had placed an invisible target on her back. She was quiet, small in build, and carried herself with the kind of shyness that predators always seem to sense. Her clothes were simple, her shoes were worn, and her backpack looked like it had survived a dozen storms. She never raised her hand in class, never spoke unless called upon, and never sat at anyone's lunch table. To the world, she seemed invisible, until the bullies noticed her. And once they did, there was no turning back. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, forgiveness, and giving people second chances, then please take a moment to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Ripple of Hope. It helps us spread stories that remind people of compassion and courage. The torment began with whispers and snickers in the hallways. Loser. Charity case. Nobody. They scribbled insults on her locker, tripped her in the cafeteria, and posted cruel memes about her online. The ringleader was Megan, the kind of girl who seemed to thrive on others' pain. With her group of friends, Tyler, Chase, and Brittany, they made Kayla's life a daily battlefield. Megan didn't just bully, she orchestrated humiliation like it was an art form. And for Kayla, each day at school was like stepping into a storm she could never escape. At first, Kayla endured in silence. She kept her head down, convinced that if she ignored them long enough, they would get bored. But silence, she learned, was an invitation. The more she tried to disappear, the more determined they became to drag her into the spotlight of cruelty. They shoved her books into the trash, locked her in the gym locker room, and once, on a cold winter morning, dumped an entire milkshake on her hair. The laughter that followed echoed in her head long after she went home to cry in her room. Her mother worked double shifts just to keep the lights on, and Kayla never had the heart to tell her about the bullying. She didn't want to add more weight to her mother's already heavy shoulders. At night, she stared at the ceiling, tears soaking her pillow, wondering if things would ever change. Her world felt small and suffocating, and she carried a loneliness that seemed unbearable. But what Megan and her friends didn't know was that Kayla carried something else deep inside her. A quiet fire. A determination born from pain. And slowly, as the bullying escalated, that fire began to spark into something unstoppable. It started one afternoon when Kayla stumbled into the local community center, trying to escape the rain. Inside, she found a judo class in session. The sharp slaps of bodies hitting mats, the intensity in the students' eyes, the discipline, it was unlike anything she had ever seen. She watched from the doorway, mesmerized. The instructor, a kind but firm man named Coach Daniels, noticed her standing there, drenched and shivering. Instead of turning her away, he invited her in. Kayla hesitated, but something in her heart whispered that this was where she was meant to be. From that day forward, she began training. At first, it was awkward. She wasn't strong, she wasn't fast, and she had no confidence. But she showed up every single day. While others laughed or got frustrated, Kayla pushed through. Every fall, every stumble, every mistake, she learned to rise again. Her body grew stronger, her reflexes sharper, and with each passing week, the timid, fragile girl began to transform. Coach Daniels saw potential in her that she couldn't see in herself. He taught her that judo wasn't just about fighting, it was about discipline, respect, and believing in your own strength. Slowly, Kayla carried those lessons beyond the mat. Her shoulders straightened when she walked down the hall. Her eyes stopped darting to the floor. She was still quiet, still reserved, but there was a shift in her presence, something Megan and her friends couldn't quite put their finger on. The breaking point came one spring afternoon. Megan and her group cornered Kayla by the bleachers after school. They mocked her clothes, shoved her against the fence, and dared her to fight back. Something inside Kayla snapped. For years she had been their victim, their punchline. But that day, she wasn't the same Kayla anymore. When Megan lunged forward to shove her again, Kayla moved instinctively. In a flash, Megan was on the ground, staring up in shock as the others froze. Tyler tried to grab Kayla from behind, but she twisted, flipping him effortlessly onto the grass. Chase advanced next, but Kayla stood her ground, her voice calm, her eyes steady. Enough. She didn't scream. She didn't need to. The weight of her presence was enough to silence them all. For the first time, the bullies felt small. They weren't facing the timid girl they used to torment. They were facing someone who had built herself from the ashes of their cruelty. That day marked the end of Kayla's silence. The bullies never touched her again. But Kayla's victory wasn't just physical, it was emotional. She didn't let her heart harden. She didn't become what they were. Instead, she carried herself with grace, proving that strength and kindness could exist together. She forgave, but she never forgot. And in the years that followed, Kayla's story spread beyond Lincoln High. She went on to compete, to inspire, to show others that no matter how broken you feel, you can rise again stronger than ever. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with others, and subscribe to Ripple of Hope. Your support helps us keep telling stories that remind people they are not alone, and that courage can grow in the darkest places. And before we end, we'd love to hear from you. Would you have forgiven the bullies if you were Kayla, or would you have walked away forever? Leave your thoughts in the comments below.